There are moments in life when something inside you stirs in ways you can't quite explain. You feel impulses that make no sense, emotions that rise out of nowhere, and habits you've been ashamed to admit even to yourself. But what if these things weren't failures or flaws? What if every urge, every intense reaction, and every inner struggle you've experienced was a strategic part of how God has been shaping you? Sometimes the things that feel the most confusing are the very things heaven uses to redirect you toward purpose. Stay with me, because this understanding will completely shift how you see yourself. For as long as you can remember, you've sensed that you didn't fit the mold of the people around you. You've felt different even before you knew why. You've had reactions that seemed too big, emotions that overwhelmed you, and instincts you couldn't explain. People misunderstood you, calling you dramatic, unstable, or overly sensitive, but heaven has never looked at you through those labels. What looked like chaos to others was actually construction. God has been building something inside you using the very patterns others criticized. Every chosen one carries traits that don't make sense to ordinary people. The world tends to judge what it doesn't understand. They point at your intensity and call it imbalance. They see your sensitivity and call it weakness. They notice your emotional depth and call it overreaction. But God sees something entirely different. He sees preparation. He sees a soul being refined for an assignment larger than earthly eyes can comprehend. Today, you're going to understand why God allows certain tendencies, certain cravings, certain storms to exist only in the ones He selects for a spiritual mission. Once you see the truth behind these patterns, everything you've lived through will finally make sense. This message isn't appearing in your life by accident. If you're hearing this now, it's because heaven has decided it's time for you to awaken to your purpose. The confusion you've carried is about to be replaced with clarity. The shame you've felt is about to be replaced with understanding. Before we continue, make sure you show this video support so it reaches another chosen one who's searching for the same answers. And if you're new here, join this journey. It's only just beginning. Lastly, drop 99 in the comments, symbolizing the moment heaven signals a chosen one just before the completion of their next revelation. The first addiction God allows in His chosen ones is the powerful, often misunderstood pull toward isolation. It's that force that compels you to withdraw even when you wish you could stay connected. People around you assume you're avoiding them, that you're cold or uninterested. But your soul knows the truth. You're not withdrawing from people, you're being called inward. God closes certain doors, quiets certain distractions, and removes certain energies so that you can hear what others can't. Your addiction to silence and solitude isn't loneliness. It's training for spiritual sensitivity. When God separates you, He isn't punishing you, He's positioning you. He draws you away from the noise because your next level requires a level of clarity and spiritual quiet most people never experience. In isolation, He adjusts your thoughts, strengthens your intuition, and detoxes you from environments that polluted your calling. This is where He heals what the world damaged. This is where He removes expectations that were never meant to define you. In isolation, He strips away everything that hides your purpose until only His voice remains. Chosen ones are not antisocial. They're spiritually summoned. There's a hidden chamber inside your soul where God speaks in whispers only you can hear. That's why solitude doesn't drain you, it restores you. While others fear being alone, something in you knows that isolation is where heaven updates your spirit. Your senses sharpen in the quiet. You notice subtle changes in energy. You understand things without needing proof. Isolation becomes the furnace where your spiritual antenna activates, preparing you for the next version of yourself that God is shaping behind the scenes. And just when people assume you've disappeared permanently, that's when God begins rebuilding you. He creates a stronger, wiser, clearer version of you, one untouched by the darkness that once tried to break you. If you've felt your pull toward isolation growing stronger lately, it's because something is being prepared for you. You're not withdrawing, you're being repositioned. The silence you're being led into is the doorway to a revelation the enemy hoped you'd never receive. Stay close, because the next addiction explains why this spiritual shift is intensifying. The second addiction God allows in His chosen ones is emotional intensity, that unexplainable depth of feeling that shakes you from the inside out. You don't experience emotions the way others do. You feel everything louder, deeper, and faster. You sense danger before logic can catch up. You pick up sadness in people who smile. Emotions hit you like spiritual earthquakes, sudden and overwhelming. The world calls it sensitivity. Heaven calls it a divine antenna. You are wired to detect spiritual and emotional frequencies others cannot perceive. This emotional intensity is both a blessing and a burden. One moment, you feel incredible compassion. The next, an unexplainable heaviness presses on your chest. What you've never been told is this: many of the emotions you feel aren't even yours. Chosen ones absorb atmospheres. You walk into a room and instantly feel the energy shift. You sense dishonesty even when words sound convincing. You detect spiritual danger before it ever manifests. This is not fragility, it's protection. It's a built-in warning system designed to keep you ahead of attacks. Your emotional depth makes you a carrier of burdens no one else notices. You feel the unspoken pain in others. You sense storms before they form. You notice subtle changes people overlook. And yes, it can be exhausting. But your heart was designed to stretch wider than most because your calling requires a capacity others don't have. This emotional intensity sharpens your discernment and makes you a warrior who can sense danger before it arrives and comfort someone before they break. You're not overly emotional. You're spiritually tuned. There have been nights when you wondered, why do I feel everything so deeply? Why can't I just be normal? But normal isn't meant for you. Your calling is bigger than normal. Your emotional intensity is how God guides you, warns you, and aligns you with people connected to your mission. And the emotional turbulence you're feeling right now might not be a burden at all. It might be a signal that something is shifting around you. Stay with me, because the next addiction explains why your heart keeps stepping into battles you never signed up for. The third addiction God allows in His chosen ones is the relentless urge to help others, especially people who would never help you in return. You don't show kindness because people deserve it. You show kindness because your soul refuses to ignore brokenness. You pour into people who pour nothing back. You uplift people who wouldn't rescue you. You love people who don't know how to love you. This confuses the world, but not heaven. God designed you this way because your purpose requires a heart that sees beyond flaws and into the soul itself. You are built to be a bridge, not a wall. You help people not because they're perfect, but because you see the divine spark hiding beneath their wounds. And yes, it hurts deeply. It hurts to give what you never receive. It hurts to show up for people who vanish when you need them. But this isn't naivety. It's assignment. You are a healer, a restorer, a carrier of spiritual endurance. God sends you into broken rooms because you hold what others cannot produce, compassion that doesn't quit. You've often felt drained, emotionally wounded, or confused about why you care so much. But heaven watches every silent sacrifice you make. The people you help may never repay you, but God always does. Every tear you shed becomes the water that grows your next season. Every seed you plant in silence becomes a harvest delivered publicly. None of it is wasted. And the people you're helping right now may be teaching you lessons necessary for the purpose being formed behind the scenes. Stay with me. The next addiction reveals why you keep fighting battles that aren't yours. The fourth addiction God allows in His chosen ones is an uncontrollable craving for truth. You can't tolerate lies, even mild ones. You can't pretend everything is fine when your spirit senses otherwise. You question things that don't make sense. You sense deceit beneath polished words. While others settle for illusions, your discernment demands deeper understanding. This isn't rebellion, it's survival. God wired you to thrive only in clarity. Falsehood drains you, pretending suffocates you, and even the smallest misalignment disturbs your spirit. God reveals truth to you long before it becomes visible to others. A tone shift, a strange heaviness, an unexplained discomfort your spirit notices instantly. You detect betrayal before it unfolds. You feel spiritual danger before it approaches. This used to frustrate you because people ignored your warnings. But now you're realizing that this gift wasn't given to make you fit in. It was given to set you apart. Your addiction to truth protects you from manipulation, deception, and spiritual traps designed to derail your calling. But this addiction goes deeper. The truth God reveals about others is nothing compared to the truth He reveals about you. This craving forces you to confront your wounds, patterns, and shadows. It pushes you to rise into your divine identity, refusing to let you shrink into comfort. You can't lie to yourself. You can't stay where your spirit doesn't belong. You can't settle for less than your calling. And when your discernment grows louder, it's because heaven is preparing you for a revelation that will shift your entire path. The fifth addiction God allows in His chosen ones is the intense pressure you place on yourself. This isn't pressure from society, it comes from within. You demand more of yourself than anyone else does. You push even when you're exhausted. You strive for growth even when no one notices. This pressure exists because your soul remembers the mission you were born with, even when your mind forgets. You feel accountable not only for your life, but for the lives connected to your calling. This pressure isn't punishment, it's activation. Chosen ones carry an ancient awareness that their actions have spiritual impact. That's why stagnation feels like suffocation and settling feels like betrayal. You don't rest easily. You don't tolerate mediocrity. You don't forgive yourself quickly. But here's the secret. The pressure you feel is tied to the magnitude of your purpose. God allows this internal weight because He is preparing you for responsibilities that require wisdom, endurance, and resilience. And the heaviness you feel right now may be the final stretch before your breakthrough. The sixth addiction God allows in His chosen ones is the supernatural compulsion to rise again. No matter how many times life knocks you down, you rebuild. You recover from storms that would have destroyed others. People see your strength, but never the nights you collapsed in silence. You rise not through human strength, but divine reinforcement. Every fall sharpened you. Every setback upgraded you. Every battle taught you. And every time you rise, your spiritual authority increases. Your resilience intimidates darkness because chosen ones don't stay buried, they resurrect. The seventh and final addiction God allows is the unbreakable pull toward His voice. Even when you drift, even when you numb yourself, even when you run, God still finds you. He speaks through dreams, signs, intuition, restlessness, sudden knowing, and quiet warnings. You can't disconnect because heaven refuses to let you walk blind. Other people can ignore signs, you can't. Your destiny won't let you wander far. And lately, if God's voice has been louder, it's because something is unfolding that you are meant to witness. Now we reach the revelation that ties everything together. You are not broken, you are not unstable, you are not a mistake. Every intensity, every pull, every emotional storm, every craving, every tendency the world misjudged was designed with purpose. God has been shaping you through the very things you tried to hide. Nothing in you is random. You are different because your calling is different. Your addictions weren't meant to destroy you, they were meant to reveal you. Reveal your strength. Reveal your discernment. Reveal your resilience. Reveal the mission you've carried since before birth. This is your activation moment. This is where you stop apologizing for your sensitivity, your intensity, your isolation, your spiritual antennas, your pressure, your discernment, and your resilience. Everything God built in you was intentional. Heaven has been working behind the scenes, preparing you for a chapter that begins now. If this message awakened something inside you, type "I rise by purpose" in the comments as a declaration that you're stepping into the version of yourself God has been shaping all along.